honest cars. Cars that do what they say on the box. And this is exactly what I found in a 2020 Kia Soul. It's honest and cheerful transportation, but does driving it make me cheerful? Well, let's put it in drive and find out. So, introduced in 2008, the Kia Soul blurred the already very blurry line in between tall hatchbacks and crossovers. Is it a very hatchback-like crossover, or is it a tall hatchback SUV thing? Don't really know. It's a Kia Soul. It's kind of its own little thing. First of all, as you're driving this, you have amazing visibility. The windows are tall, the pillars are slim. I can see out the back very easily. It's a very easy car to maneuver, and that pays dividends in tight city streets and also on the highway when you're trying to do shoulder checks and merges and lane changes and all the things you need to do on a highway. The other thing I like about the Kia Soul is it's just easy to drive. The pedal inputs, the steering inputs, they're all very easy, and the shifter is simple. It's just a Prindle. You just start and park, shift it down in the drive, away you go. No buttons, no dials, no guessing. It's just a refreshing take on driving a car. It's so easy. You could hop in this car and be at home with it in minutes. Now, mechanically, there's really nothing remarkable here. It is front drive, it is a 2-liter 4-cylinder that makes 147 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque, and it's always made it to a CVT. It's not a sports car engine, but it's zippy. It's got pep, it merges happily, it just kind of does its job, and I don't really notice it. It's also a surprisingly good handling car. It actually takes turns with some elan and zip, and I think a lot of that is because it's actually kind of shaped like this. Like, it's thinner at the top than at the bottom. It's got a wide stance for how little it is. And I think that is why it's pretty good in the corners. Not that you would buy this thing for autocross zipping, but it's fun to drive. It's fun to drive the Kia Soul. It kind of likes going in the corners. I mean, not everyone will, but it's nice to know that you have a willing dance partner in the Kia Soul should you wish. Oh, also fun in the Kia Soul, which I love, the color palette. Check it out. You can get so many different colors on the Kia Soul, like lime green, this electric blue, you can get like an orange, a red, and it's so fun. Like, who doesn't want to paint their car in lime green? It sounds awesome. Now, the penalty, and where I will get on Kia's case about this, is that annoyingly every single color except black is extra cost. It only costs $250, but still it's the principle that essentially, unless you're buying this car in black, there is a paint tax of $250 you have to pay on this thing. That is not good practice. Okay, let's move on to the interior. The fit and finish is perfect, and the materials for the segment are really good. I would put it at the very best of the segment. I think it's really good. And again, I love the layout. It's so simple. I have little knobs for my climate control. I have 2 of them because I have 2-zone climate control. I have clearly marked buttons for everything I want to do in terms of fan speed and defrost and where I want my air to be coming out of which vents. It's so straightforward. I love it. It's clearly designed with ease of use in mind. It's just so refreshing. Also, I have this big 10.25-inch touchscreen because I am in the GT Limited top trim. Now, if I were to stick to the lower trims, I would only get a 7-inch touchscreen, but the 10.25-inch unit is clear. It works very well. It's just the right amount of functions I want in a touchscreen and the right amount of functions I want on a button. I like that there's hard buttons underneath the screen to do what I want, and I have some shortcuts. This car, being the top trim, also has a premium Harman Kardon stereo, which I am going to give a stereo rating of about 6.5 out of 10. It's not great, really, and it should be better because it has so many speakers in it. It's clearly tuned for overpowering bass and not much else. It probably makes deadmau5 sound amazing in here, but if you're more of a CCR guy, it's not going to play your twang very well. And while colors other than black are not standard, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay is. Even on the most affordable version of the Kia Soul, you get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is great to see entry-level model. Also, on the entry level, the lowest model you get heated seats, which is great in Canada. So heated seats and phone connectability, even on the most affordable model, is really cool. The seating I also should talk about is great. I love it. I don't sit with my legs in front of me like I would in a Civic or an Elantra or something. It's very upright, and I think this upright driving position favors people who are maybe the shorter drivers among us, because with that great visibility you have, it really lets you feel like you can see the road, you can see what's going on around you, and that you're not driving at the bottom of a bunker. Cargo capacity is pretty good. The cargo space is actually taller than it is wide, but the seats do fold down, not 100% flat, but you do have lay flat-ish seating in the back. You can carry a lot of stuff with this if you wanted to. In the rear seats, pretty capacious. It must be said that I am not a 100% fan of the Kia Soul styling. I'm not sure about the squashed headlights. Overall, it looks funky, it looks unique, it has some style, even though I'm not sure it's my style. And now we get to the thing I don't like about the Kia Soul, which is the price. This is the fully loaded GT Limited, and it comes in at just a hair under $30,000. And you have to really like the Kia Soul to pay $30,000 for one. Frankly, I don't think I would buy this version of this car. But the good news is that that cheap version, the SX, comes in at $21,995, which is much more reasonable. And I think somewhere between the SX and the mid-range version, I would find the version of the car that I would buy. I think this is a really good car in the 25, 27,000 range. Once you start getting up near 30, I don't see the value, frankly. In summary, the Kia Soul is refreshing because it's so simple and it nails the basics. Quite often we get cars that are very adventurous and they reach for the sky and they miss because they forget the basic fundamentals of what a good car is. And the Kia Soul nails the fundamentals. Easy to drive, thoughtful ergonomics, intended to actually work for the people who will buy it. Kia nailed the basics, and that's why it's such a good package. The downside, as I said, is that at nearly like $30,000 for the fully loaded version, I don't think you're getting that much value from it, but you can just choose a different trim. And if you want to learn more about this car, check out the full article on Driving.ca, and don't forget to check us out on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.